All right, no editing, nothing like that. We're right. Like, this thing is just going to be my thoughts of watching this episode. So, my first thought was you guys are going to get a lot of content after this episode, or after me watching this episode, because this episode definitely had more shit going on. I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was actually definitely one of the best. I think it's probably, maybe it might be the best episode this season so far. Not quite sure. I mean, you had episode one. Yeah, it probably is the best episode of the season so far. It had more meaning towards it for sure. There was actually what I complained about last episode was saying something. The writer saying something, or even Elgin James, the showrunner, saying something, and you had like a sprinkles of that, and then it led. You had a lot of sprinkles of that of a lot of storylines in this episode. Let's talk about it. This is a spoiler review. Let's just talk about it. Coco's gone, man. Coco is gone, and I had you knew when you were watching the episode something's gonna happen, especially with the Mayans meeting Mr. Mayhem. At first, I thought it was gonna be Angel. Angel is like the biggest like red shirt, so to speak. Like he's just like you think he. It seems like he's just destined to go down, like to die, but you don't know when, right? Coco, I always said that this series needed like a big, impactful death. As much I thought Coco should have died last year, and I thought it would have been more. I thought it would have been more crazier last year. I thought it would have made sense too because he has fallen so hard. And then seeing Coco coming back this season, you kind of think like, and then you don't see him too often, especially since 5 episodes in. Like, Alvarez sends him to make good with the Oakland Chargers and just represent and stuff. Then you're like thinking like, so what is Coco like? I like the Coco and Hope dynamic, but what else is Coco gonna do? Is he gonna finally be the Coco that we've seen in the beginning of the seasons? Remember, he has a messed up eye, so it's not like he could really snipe anymore. But not only that, he like what is? Are we gonna see him like what we used to love him in the beginning of? He was the strongest part in those seasons. So seeing him go this episode, it makes sense. I don't think there's too much. There was too much left in the Coco storyline. I thought it was done actually very beautifully. Like I said, I thought him and Hope, and I thought that romantic relationship, it actually kind of worked for me, especially seeing Hope and how like distraught. Like I am rooting for Hope when she turns away going to the Meth Mountain and she loses her shit. Like that, Hope is like a person that we all seen or we felt like we were in that same position. Not necessarily like, well, yeah, people will talk about like Creeper's little scene, but like I feel for her. And then me trying to figure out like what's the dynamic with her and Letitia. What are they trying to do there? It's gonna make sense now that Letitia is gonna find out, of course, everybody's gonna find out Coco is dead. So I think the Hope and Letitia, they're gonna have to lean with each other so much, and I hope carries on staying clean and not ruining Coco, saving her and bringing her back. So I think it's beautifully. I honestly think it is beautifully done, and what the showrunners do after this is going to. I think that's going to be the lasting of Coco's character and legacy is if Hope stays clean and Letitia becomes a great woman and is successful, or just has a happy life. So with Coco being gone, you guys, I thought he wasn't gonna die. I honestly thought, nah, they're not gonna kill Coco because he's too much of a fan favorite. But then I was blinded. I should have knew like fan favorites always die, right? Fan favorites, the people that you want the most to live, and you think maybe will bounce back, and ends up being killed. And I mean, Coco by all means. I think the writing was up and down with this character, but he was a character that we all enjoyed, we all liked, and I think it was like kind of messy in the last season, but I think it was beautifully done in this episode where his demise, looking at the fireworks, calling Hope, I think you definitely would want to maybe a couple more scenes with him and Letitia this season before they kind of just killed him off. But this is a big blow. This is a big one, especially for the Santo Padre charter, especially for like all. This is the one death that's gonna bring. It's kind of like Agent Coulson with Avengers, but then it's a little bit more because this is their brother and this is like them. They've known Coco for so long, so you're gonna want Bishop out for blood. You're gonna want Easy's gonna be out for blood too. Like this is definitely a death that's gonna bring more out of this war. And speaking of the war, so as we continue talking about overall, Coco's demise, I love that they brought Diaz. I think the Diaz and Marcus Alvarez conversation way more engaging and entertaining than what we got last episode, because these are two heavy hitters, right? And I like Diaz as an actor and as a character, talking about what Alvarez did. It's always being brought up, what he did to his son, and you can see it's eating Alvarez alive. Everybody says he made the right decision, but I think in Alvarez's mind, he made the wrong decision because that shit is still lingering. That shit is hurting him as a human being. For a club, yeah, maybe it was the right decision, whatever. But as a human being and Alvarez being a father, that was definitely the wrong decision. But Diaz says, dude, listen, and Alvarez like, you came all the way to Oakland just to tell me, like, try to, tell me what freaking Conche told me. And Diaz says, like, hey, man, what you did to your son, that was right for the club. You might have to do that again. And that's meaning taking out Bishop, they want Santa Padre's charter gone. They don't care. Like, clearly, when this day is supposed to be for the fallen brothers, there is still animosity. There's still this tension that just brewed, and now they're all getting into a fight. So the Civil War storyline, even though it's kind of it's kind of disappointing that it's ending like this, but there's still a lot of tension, so there might be still a lot of backstabbing and a lot of fights and blah blah blah, all that stuff. But the thing is, what I took out of this episode with Alvarez and his processing and him saying, you know what, you're right, we got to rip the cancer out. There's two people in mind. There's Bishop, which he's gonna have to do what he has to do to get rid of that guy, and then there's Conche. So these are two guys that just won't let it go. These are and he sees that. These are two guys that are just bringing down the club. So I think he's going to go out. They might meet Mr. Mayhem, man. I don't know. The thing is, like, man, Marcus sent Coco. So we all kind of thought that maybe he sent Coco and then he was doing such a thing, like his son, but that wasn't the case. It's just Coco was in a wrong. He was destined to be there, and he was destined to fall. The other thing too was I love the club activities this season. I love the action. I love the club activities. I love the just finally getting into like votes and finally getting into club members talking to other club members. Hank still reeling from Steve, and then that's what fucking started this fight when the other charters were talking shit about Steve and Creeper. I love how Creeper's like, hey, he was patched, so some respect. You see, that's what I like. That's what I want. If you're gonna give me dialogue with these characters, give me dialogue with characters that was meaningful. They were bringing back, Steve. It still hurts this Santa Padre, and you have lesser kind of characters that get screen time, but they're really it evolves to this huge fight, which is gonna probably evolve to this huge decision with Alvarez. So this is what I'm talking about. When the writing could be so good, and it could set up so much, and there was foreshadowing, there was setup. Like, this is the episode I enjoyed the most, while the last episode was more of showing like Gilly and stuff. And CM Punk is in there in another episode. This is getting kind of it got dark real quick in this episode. It got dark. Like, there was a dog that was euthanized. Like, it was insane, man. It was like, what the hell? We'll get to there in a moment, but I do love the whole, like, the fight, and reminiscent of just, the Sons of Anarchy, when they always just a lot of fights just going down, just kind of tensions brewing and stuff. So I like that. So let's go to Miguel. So Miguel, I did like the scene with him and his aunt, and they're like sitting, and like she's pretty much laying the groundwork, like, bro, Felipe banged your mom. you know, everything's coming together. He hasn't put like 2 plus 2 yet. Like he hasn't been light bulbed yet. But I did like that conversation. I thought it was pretty funny how she's like, "Oh yeah, your mother would, always want to go get after the boy I wanted. Did dance lessons because I love dance." And she's like, "Oh, she was a horrible dancer." Like it was very cute. It was a very nice moment. And I like the Aunt and Miguel situation. Yet Tomas, once again, the cartel. Like this didn't shock me. All right, this didn't shock me. It was like I said, this is a dark episode. But Tomas is missing. The LGN, I believe, or that cartel takes him and they murder him. They drop him off. His dad was looking for him. He sees him. He's crying. Miguel is clearly upset and confesses his sin because the whole thing is for his aunt wants him to like confess and to really kind of go to be one with God, basically. And so he's absolutely devastated because him and Tomas had like these little interactions and stuff. And Tomas told him, I think you're a good man. I don't think you're a bad man. So Tomas is dead. They killed off a kid. They're going pretty crazy in this season. That didn't shock me though. Like, what does the cartel do? They don't go after you necessarily. They go after your loved ones because they know it's going to hit harder and it's going to break you than just killing you. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows, even if you just know that about ruthless organizations, ruthless men. Like it's savage, man. It's savage. So Miguel's storyline, I think this leads me to think that he might be going back because seeing Tomas die, he's probably going to be thinking about his own son, so we might see him try to really actually go find Emily. And speaking of Emily, I guess you didn't hear that Jay-Z song. Like, you're going to need a lawyer for that. Like, no, she's being yeah. So we do get we're starting to understand. All right, Emily calls Easy in this episode, so now we know why Emily is going to probably be part of the season and be and probably get in touch with Easy because they're bringing back the Marlon situation where Easy killed him, but he was working out a deal with Emily and stuff. The Marlon guy, and his mom is the one who hired PIs because she didn't think it was a suicide. She thinks he was murdered. She was absolutely right. You have these 2 PIs follow Emily, and they know she's Galindo. She has this fake name, and they're at her house. Like, Emily is not one getting a lawyer, not keeping her mouth shut, not sticking to her story. I don't care what this woman is saying. And this woman was a little bit over the top in this episode, the PI. Emily just did stupid ass decisions, man. Really dumb. Like, when they said PI, I was just thinking about Jessica Jones, though. It was kind of funny. But she's just giving them ammunition, man. She just won't shut her mouth. She said, if I tell you, will you just leave? Like, come on, man. Come on. And Emily should know better. Emily should know better. This is not her first rodeo. She's been with, crime all of her, or with Galindo and all that. She should know better. So very dumb. Got to go back though real quick to Nestor. Man, Nestor being called a little bitch. Nestor's there. Nestor is still there. So she eventually towards the end of the episode calls Easy because this whole situation between her and Easy too. So that's while Easy's banging Sophia. This was very odd. Okay, in a real scene, if these 2 people were in real life and Easy's talking to her, okay, I get it. He's making excuses to go like holler at her. All right. But then when she brings him to the euthanasia, says, "Can you hold him?" Like basically telling him like, "I need your help. You're a worker for today." But there's some red flags, man. When she was like spouting about her daughter and what happened there, and then euthanizing the dog, and Easy just like, I feel you. Like, nah, man. Like she said she's all fucked up. That's red flags, man. Get out of there. Like that's like a Tinder date gone wrong, man. And it is kind of like a Tinder date because she's like comes back and she knows where he. First of all, she looks at his papers, goes back and knows where he's at, and then she wants some of that easy. She says, "I messed up, just to let you know, but I'm gonna ride that. It's gonna be an easy ride." Where was Easy? Where was Easy's head at? Where did he go? Where did Easy go? So that was Sophia, man. Sophia's fine, but Sophia's crazy. She's really, really crazy. But it all kind of ties into the message of the episode, or to the overall, it's kind of crazy. Creeper really foreshadowed it, especially with the whole CM Punk situation and Gilly situation, because you have Creeper and my boy Creeper getting some, man. Everybody's getting, bravo. People are getting laid this episode. People are dying this episode. People trying to commit suicide in this episode. Even dogs are dying. So Creeper gets some, right, with that girl that he met in AA, and that's great. I like it. It's cool. But there's a conversation, and she has her ex's photo there, and she tells Creeper, like, yeah, he committed suicide. And then Creeper says, I don't get that. Like, I don't agree with that. Like, his thought is like, life's a gift. And she's like, no, like that's what happened. Like, he was, they both have two different ideals of, like, if it was wrong or if it was right. And then that's a scene. You see, that's a scene with two characters' dialogue that leads to a message towards the CM Punk situation. And this is a worse situation because it looked like he was having his son trying to help him commit suicide. And that was terrible, man. And then you have Gilly take the son. I believe his name was Jacob. And then, I thought they were really brothers, but they're not really brothers. They're brothers of arms. So my bad, my mistake. And then, I like that. I like how Gilly's like, Ray, I think her name is Raya or Ray. She calls him and like, say, hey, I need your help. And, Gilly kicks down the door and sees CM Punk. And then he takes the kid. I like how he's like, he's looking out for these guys, he's looking out for them. And then it's not, I was thinking maybe it'd be like a one-off episode for some reason, but it seems like this storyline is kind of keep going. It's not the most, it's kind of crazy, right? I mean, it looks like we're going to continue this whole thing with Gilly and what he's having something to do. We're looking into like his relationship with these guys, but I don't know. It's the least thing I want to see. I want to see the aftermath of what happens with Coco, but I think there's other storylines that I'm kind of invested in where this one is there. I'm fine with it, but I'm just like, dude, we're now in the war. Now we're kickstarting the war. So I don't know if we really haven't, I guess for something to Gilly to do, but we're in it now. He was kicking some ass in that bar scene though. What else is there? Man, there's a lot to process in this episode. There's a lot of death. There's a lot of, right or wrong. There's a lot of forgiveness. There's a lot of, characters getting broken. So, but I think it was well balanced. JJ, man, JJ, his ass was getting chewed out in this episode. You see Easy go to JJ and kind of return the favor, kind of threatening him with a gun. He has his kids there. JJ messing up though. He's not changing diapers. He's leaving the house. He's even leaving the house a mess. He looks like he's like, I'm fucking ready to go, man. I'm ready to go back to prison or something. This is some bullshit. So JJ and Easy's conversation, that was an interesting one, right? Like, where is this going to go? Like, what does JJ know? Seems like they're going to talk in in the future. So on another episode, but that's getting a little bit intriguing. So we'll see that. Bishop's still pissed, Bishop still being Bishop. I did like the part where he's like, fuck you, Taza. You ain't saying his name, and then you got to call back to Riz. I like everybody talking about all the fallen, Mayans, but then you're just like, damn, you guys all try to fucking kill each other at one point, What else is there? There's this episode was good. It was a really solid, good episode where there was things that were happening that actually moved or hinted at things to come in the episode. No Tig this episode, but I'm assuming we're going to get Tig next episode. So that was a nice little tease that Tig did, or Kim Coates did. So it was a good episode, man. What can I say? I really enjoyed it. It might have been the best episode so far this season. The problem I have with previous seasons is you can have great episodes and then they can have like 4 more duds or 3 more duds. So the consistency still has to be there. I don't see how they're going to drop the ball since like we're at the war now. Like people died. There was an ambush. Like I feel like now we're going to start getting into some kick-ass kind of action scenes, so to speak, or some kick-ass like, moments, because people are gonna go, man. There's gonna be people. If Coco is gone, like then that means Taz's numbers probably up, Bishop's numbers probably up, Conche's numbers probably up. If it's not from the Suns, it's from within. So that's what I like, that they're building that, and I like so far I like the build of the Suns and Mayans war. I hope they don't drop the ball like they did kind of like the Civil War. I felt like the Civil War was just overall with the Mayans kind of like it just ended way too abruptly. It was really that first episode and that was it. So you still see tension. So we got to talk about, though, Adelita, man. Adelita messed up Potter's ex-assistant. That was Potter's agent that he used to work with. And she was, and her and Adelita had some animosity, and boy, did Adelita go Wanda in this episode. She messed up not only her husband, and she got the baby back. So we do find out that she was, she had the child. And man, Adelita just went ham. She's bloodied. She's screaming towards the end of this episode. Where is Potter? Because last time we saw, I assumed that she was gonna like take Potter hostage, but I guess not. I don't think he's dead, but we'll see, I guess, in the future. I honestly, there's only one route I think she's going to go to. She has to go to Angel, right? I think that's the only route she's going to... What's next after this? That's the question. Like, the big question is, what is Adelita going to do now? But I just don't see her not going to Angel. I mean, that is their baby. And you have Angel's situation with Nails, and you could just tell it's just not working, that he doesn't love her. And he honestly, Angel maybe loves Adelita more, but it doesn't matter. He's not a married type of man, He's always going to be he's like a breeze, man. He's just going to keep going. He's going to come by for a little bit, and then that breeze is going to come by a little bit, again, and that's it. He's just not into Nails, but I think he might be. The thing is, he might be a really good father. Even though he's not building anything, or maybe, I don't know. The question's still up in the air on that one. But with Adelita, yeah, that scene was brutal, man. That scene was brutal. This was a brutal episode, so it kind of fits the tone throughout, right? So Adelita gets her child back, and what happens next, we don't know. But and like I said, I thought Angel was gonna fucking die when he went off on his own, but he didn't. You see Angel get Easy's back when they're talking shit about him, like hugging and shaking hands and stuff, and he's like, "Oh, that's a VP, man." When Bishop's talking shit, like man, Angel. I don't know what Bishop thinking about saying all that shit in front of Angel. He thinks Angel's gonna have his back. Come on now. Everything else, great episode. Probably the best episode so far this season. We're gonna have to wait till next episode, but shocking death with Coco. R.I.P. Coco. But honestly, I'm not. Well, I am pretty shocked because I didn't think they were going to kill him off. But I don't see where else he was going to... I think they were just kind of like, let's just send him off a beautiful way. So props to the actor, too. Did a fantastic job. I hope he gets a lot more work in the future. The kid's got it, man. The kid's got some he's likable. Really likable. And I think that's why we all liked Coco. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got for you. I will be probably rewatching it because I just watched it this morning, so I'm processing it, and just like I might have missed a couple things, but I'm gonna have individual videos, especially with Coco. I'm gonna have a lot more content tomorrow, and leading up to maybe a live stream, maybe just me, so you guys can come with the live stream, or I might just do videos. We'll see. But great stuff. Be sure to like this video so we can get it going. It helps a great deal for this channel. Subscribe to the channel if you want more Mayans and Sons videos. And then also, comment below. I know everybody's going to be talking about this episode. This was finally an episode where everybody can get together like, holy shit. This was the holy shit moment. This was the water cooler episode. Now, will the momentum carry, and will we get consistent episodes after this? In the past, it hasn't been that way. But we'll see. This is a new season. We'll see how it goes. I give props where props are due. Great setups, great writing, great direction, fantastic. But let me see. I got to see this next episode and see what they do with all this. So, thank you guys. I'm Dan Domenic and Danielson. I'm out of here. Here's how we go.